I know you're busy, but I hope you have time to answer a quick question from me. I grew up Lutheran LCMS, but currently go to Southern Baptist Church. I've felt drawn back to the Lutheran faith, however, am unable to convince my wife to become a Lutheran. Is it possible to be a Lutheran without being part of a Lutheran church? No. Yes, no. I mean, you can be one who believes right and goes against conscience and struggles with that, or you can be one who decides to go with your conscience. Your conscience ought to dictate to you, especially as the leader of your home, that you have an honest conversation with your wife in which you say, hey, honey, this is really, really challenging, but here's where I'm at. This is what I believe now. We need to work this out together. But I know that if I do not have feeding for my faith, as I understand it, I will suffer and it will cause harm to us. And I don't want that. And so I need to find a way to go to a Lutheran church. That's the conversation you should have. And if she doesn't want to go, don't make her go. And if it's, we always were supposed to go together. Well, you're right. We were. And Jesus comes to set a sword between husband and wife sometimes. And we're both Christians still, so we can talk it through and we can work on it. We can keep having conversations. We can go to different churches and then come home and talk about it. By the way, I don't think it's a good idea to go to different churches as a couple. I think it's a terrible idea. I apologize for that. I should have turned the mic down. I think it's a terrible idea. However, I think it's a better idea to go to different churches if you actually believe differently than to try to go to the same church and pretend you don't. Right? So you got to deal with the cards you got. You're not going to force anybody to become a Lutheran. You're not going to force your wife to become a Lutheran. But what you can do is demonstrate that your conviction is such that you got to do this thing, that this is your manhood in the rest of your life and the rest of eternity and your king, and you're going to follow where your king tells you to go. And but you want to do so in a way that's respectful to the bride he's given you, who's your sister in Christ, who you need to care for. So you want to make sure her needs are met as well. Make sure she's nothing impinges on her needs. But then say, this is what I believe. I need to go somewhere where I can get the supper. Straight up, it's that simple. She won't like it necessarily, but this is where marital relationships have to deal with things that one or the other person doesn't like. And at some point, you have to come to terms with that and figure out how to work together to have both people get what they want, even though they're different things. Sad if that's religion, right? But at the same time, better to be honest about it than to suffer your religion being what? Suffered. Persecuted in a sense, not really persecuted, but your devotion and spirituality is going to suffer as a result of this. And why would you do that on purpose? The suffering you will endure in the conversation with your wife as you grow closer together and walk together in spirituality will be far more valuable than the suffering you endure having to listen to heterodoxy and being bothered by it week in, week out and not getting fed. It's that easy. And you will find, go find Matt Richard, Dr. Matt Richard, PM Notes. You can find him. He will have, or he has, if you reach out to him, I'm sure he'll get it to you, it wasn't doctoral, it was pre-doctoral work he did on coming out of evangelicalism into Lutheranism and the experiences people have, and yours is a lot like theirs. And the long and short is this: the longer you tarry, once you know you're caught, the longer you tarry outside a Lutheran church, the more angry and frustrated you will be, and the less joy you will find in your conversion process. The sooner you go, the more glad you're going to be you did it. You will do it either way, because election is election. It's not going to let go of your mind, your noggin. But the sooner you just listen to that election taking place in this way, that providence moving you in this way, the better off you're going to be. And my guess is eventually your wife comes along with you, but it's going to take a long time and a lot of patience and making sure she knows she's not being forced.